Okay, hi everyone. Today we're going to have a debate on the ethical principles of veganism with Carneval. You do have your own YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
so I'll link that in the description after the debate, just if people want to check out your channel. So to start things off, I just want to make it clear that it's very easy to create an ethical system that's logically consistent. So basically my plan for the debate is to either demonstrate that your logical system is either, or sorry, your moral system is either logically inconsistent or it is consistent and it leads to absurdity. So that's basically what I'm going to end up trying to demonstrate throughout the course of the debate. Um, and if you want to start with anything,
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping to do. And I know we're going to end up talking about name the trait, which is basically kind of what you described there, a personal consistency test as far as one's morality is concerned. And if I fail this test, obviously I'm unable to name the trait. I'm going to end up being logically inconsistent, and you will consider the ethical debate won, right?
yeah, essentially. Or
Okay,
like there are ways of making a moral system that is logically consistent, but
but
it does
most
end
people
up
will
leading to
reject it.
absurdity.
Yeah, most people will reject it basically.
Well, most people end up trying to create a logically consistent moral system, but then it leads to absurdity, like saying it's okay to genocide mentally disabled people, things like that.
Or eat dead bodies.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So yeah, why don't we start off with name the trait? For those of you who don't know of the concept of name the trait, it's basically a test to see whether or not someone's moral system is logically consistent. So basically, you have to name a trait that is lacking in an animal that if we're also lacking in a human would also justify needlessly killing them for taste pleasure, essentially. So, for example, if you were to say it's okay to kill and eat cows because they're not intelligent enough, they're lacking in intelligence. Well, by logical extension, if a human being were as unintelligent as a cow, that would justify killing and eating them if you so wanted. So that's a basic explanation of name the trait. So why don't you name a trait that you believe is lacking in animals that would justify killing and eating animals, but would also, in the same context, justify killing and eating a human if you so pleased.
I do want to talk about name the trait, but I think we're jumping way ahead of ourselves here because I wanted to preempt a few things, save us some time later on in the debate.
Okay, sure.
So if you mind, I know you made a video about the carnivorous diet and how it causes scurvy because of vitamin C deficiency. Is that
Right.
correct to say? Okay, so
Well, just to be clear, a carnivore diet might not necessarily cause a vitamin C deficiency, assuming
but
you're
it
eating
could.
enough organs or
Yeah,
thalamus glands. Yeah, it could.
but it right, and if it leads to a vitamin deficiency, then it causes disease known as scurvy. Basically, is what you were saying.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, since we're talking about logical consistency, apart from B12 shots, what other supplements are you taking on your vegan diet?
Vitamin D and what's it called? Algae-based DHA.
Okay, so you believe your diet causes vitamin deficiencies, which is why you take these supplements, meaning you believe your diet causes disease.
Well, no, that's a little bit more of an that's too much of an oversimplification. So B12 does naturally occur in the environment in fresh water and in soil. So traditionally, just from the bacteria that occurs in fresh water and in the soil, if you just pick up an apple from a tree, basically there is enough B12 around that apple uh, to give yourself some B12. Also, if you're like drinking well water, that does have bacteria in it that produces B12. The issue is in modern times, because of modern agricultural practices using things like pesticides, artificial fertilizers, and from just drinking treated water, B12 just doesn't naturally occur in the environment anymore. So you either have to get it from animal products, so like ruminants who produce B12 in their gut, and then you can get B12 from eating their flesh, or you have to take a supplement. So
Okay, those
obviously,
statements, sorry, but those statements are all speculation. This has
no,
never
it's
been
it's not
proved.
speculation.
Sure is. The way we have gotten B12 traditionally is by eating ruminant animals. Um, there are minute amounts of B12 in the water and in the soil, but for the bulk of our history, we didn't eat tubers. This is a pretty new thing, at least for Europeans and a lot of northern people. Uh, this isn't really controversial. This is just like vegan
Well,
dogma.
well,
We,
listen to
well, but
you
it's still,
also well, no, listen for a second. You also mentioned vitamin D. Rates of vitamin D deficiency in the US are 43%, and the highest is seen in Black people who have an 83% chance of being vitamin D deficiency. So it's largely dependent on skin color. So again, vitamin and mineral deficiencies are quite common. Iodine
well,
deficiencies are also quite common as well.
whatever the theoretical reasons for these deficiencies are, you do believe that your diet causes vitamin deficiencies. I could make something up like Dr. Greger likes to make up about B12 and spread this vegan dogma. I can make something up about there used to be tons of vitamin C in muscle meat, so you didn't need to eat organs, blah, blah, blah. But the point I'm trying to make is that your vegan diet, you admit, causes deficiencies. For whatever reason, it causes vitamin deficiencies. My diet does not, which consists of a lot of meat and some plant vegetables and animal products in general, does not cause any deficiencies. Yours does. So in order for you to be logically consistent with what you said about carnivore, how it can cause vitamin C deficiency, does scurvy, I think you have to be logically consistent here. And since you do admit that it causes these deficiencies for whatever reason, mine doesn't, yours does, you have to be logically consistent and admit that veganism causes disease. I think I think straying away from this conclusion, you're going to expose a double standard, meaning that you're logically inconsistent. We could speculate about what's happening, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is this: you don't believe you could get all the nutrition from the vegan diet. Now, if you ate pasture-raised meat, you would get enough vitamin D, vitamin B12. If you eat fish, you're going to get enough DHA and EPA, things that you just cannot get
Hold up
from
there.
the vegan diet.
Well, hold up there. Sean Baker, the guy who used to be a doctor who's on the carnivore diet, when he got his blood test done, he was vitamin D deficient. So again, just because you eat a particular diet, that doesn't mean you're going to avoid a deficiency.
I don't have any deficiencies.
Well, that's great. That's an anecdotal claim, but I'm
So it's
saying
Sean.
even
Wait,
people.
hold on. So you just made an anecdotal claim, but I can't. You're once again
Well,
logically inconsistent. Double standard.
wait. When did I make an anecdotal claim?
Sean Baker.
Well, no, I'm just demonstrating that just because you're eating a particular diet, like a carnivore diet, that doesn't automatically mean you're going to not have vitamin D deficiencies.
Yes, but
That's not
theoretically,
exactly an anecdotal claim. You're basically saying that, oh, well, my diet is perfect because I personally don't have any vitamin D deficiency or any vitamin
I
D.
never said it was perfect. I just said I don't have
Okay,
any
well,
vitamin
better.
deficiencies. No, I'm not
Okay.
trying to make.
Well. Listen. I got a blood test done. I think 4 years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while, but it was right after I did a bodybuilding competition. I just wanted to make sure that all my vitamin and mineral levels were fine, just because I was dieting really hard, and I had been following the vegan diet for 3 years prior. Even after dieting super hard, I had absolutely no deficiencies. Again, like from eating fortified foods and taking supplements that helped me avoid a deficiency. So, really, what this comes down to is just having an appropriately planned diet. If you can't get enough nutrition from the food you're eating, you're going to have to take supplements or eat fortified food.
Yeah, but
Like,
supplements aren't part of the diet. Those are dietary supplements. They're
right, well,
supplements
that's
to the diet.
okay. Well, listen, let's say you were living in a part of the world where it wasn't possible for you to get enough iodine, and you had to take either supplement or eat fortified foods. Like, so it's wrong to take a supplement or eat fortified foods?
I never said it was wrong. I just said it's not
Right.
part of any diet. It's not part
Okay.
of a diet, and it isn't.
Okay.
So you can't say that it is. It's a dietary supplement. So once again, you look, it doesn't matter, and we can move past this point. I think you're logically inconsistent, and I don't expect you to admit this, but that's okay with me. We can move past this. Bottom line is this: the statements that you made about the carnivore diet and the possibility of it causing disease because of vitamin deficiency, you hold the same belief about your diet. And we don't have to talk about what diet is better. The fact of the matter is that vegans, one of the strongest arguments of veganism is that they're eating a healthful diet, which is bullshit because almost all vegans admit to having to take supplements. Thus, it's not a superior diet. Thus, you just lost the nutritional argument because it's nonsense. But you could be logically inconsistent if you choose to. I can't force you to uh, you know to have standards. If you don't want to have standards, what can I do about that? I think we should move past that. So I'll let you respond to what I just said, and maybe we should move on.
Okay, okay. So you're kind of straw manning my position. The reason why I brought up vitamin C deficiency for the people following the carnivore diet is largely because of the culture around the carnivore diet. These people don't think that, like, these people don't even think or question about taking supplements or eating fortified foods because they have this notion that, oh, if I only eat flesh, then it's impossible for me to get a deficiency. Well, obviously it's not. So yeah, I'm going to criticize that diet because it very easily can cause a vitamin C deficiency. And there's also absolutely no benefit to avoiding foods that are high in vitamin C, like fruits and vegetables. So that's not me being hypocritical or inconsistent, like by criticizing people following the carnivore diet by saying this diet will cause vitamin C deficiencies when these people are deliberately avoiding foods that are high in vitamin C. There's no benefit to doing that, and they also refuse to supplement their diet with anything.
No, see, now
Also,
you strawman my
also,
position now.
no, 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 no. Listen, let me finish. Also, you're just focusing on vitamin and mineral deficiencies and supplementation rather than the overall health effects of the diet, like the health outcomes. So when you say, "Oh, well, my diet is superior to yours because I don't have
No,
to
no,
take
no, that's not what I'm
supplements,"
saying. That's not
okay,
what I'm
well, what are
saying.
you saying? So what are you saying when you're
Well,
bringing
you
up the
need to
supplements?
see. You're telling me to listen, 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 but I think you should take your own advice. What I am saying, once again, is that you believe that if you get a vitamin deficiency on a certain diet, that'll lead to disease. What I'm also saying is that you believe
Whoa.
because you're taking, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, sure.
Because you believe your diet causes deficiencies, and this has nothing to do with this diet is superior, or I'm not saying that what I eat is superior. What I am saying is that vegans are one of the strongest, so I think vegans argument for the vegan diet is that it's healthy, which again I'm saying is bullshit, and I'm debunking that. This isn't about this diet is better than your diet. No, vegans are trying to say that their diet is the best, which is why everyone should adopt it. It's one of the reasons. And what I am saying is that by taking lots of supplements, you admit, you understand, not just one supplement, you believe that your diet that you're currently eating, that you're advocating other people eat, causes vitamin deficiencies. And since we already established by your own logic, which is logic in general, that vitamin deficiencies lead to disease, we have to draw the same conclusion about the diet that you eat insofar as what you believe, the view of your diet. Right? Once again, if you believe that you need to take supplements on your diet, you also believe your diet causes deficiencies, causes disease. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, again, you're just ignoring the overall health benefits.
No,
No,
this
no,
is
no,
nothing.
listen.
You're gonna go, hold on, you're gonna go down a rabbit hole that
No,
we don't
no,
need to
no,
go
I'm not
down.
going down a rabbit hole. You're just kind of
No,
misrepresenting
no,
my position. No,
no.
first of
I'm
all,
just making a
look,
simple point.
listen.
Gains.
I
I'm
let you
making
talk
a
for a long time. Look, I let you talk, so it's my turn to talk. So again, you're kind of oversimplifying this topic. So I could either get B12 from a supplement, or I could get it from a piece of steak. So what's better for my health, getting B12 from a supplement or a steak? Well, in my
I don't
opinion,
care.
it's better.
That's
No,
not
no,
my
no, no, no,
argument.
no, no.
But
Listen,
that's not
listen,
my argument. That's not
listen.
my
Li-
argument.
okay,
I don't
well,
have to.
explain. Okay,
My
well, what?
That's not my
Briefly.
argument. What's
Okay, well,
better for
listen.
your health?
Listen. Calm
That's not.
down. Calm down.
You're strawmanning me. I can't let. Why should I let you strawman me? There's no need to go down this
Calm
rabbit
down
hole.
and explain. Okay, well, explain what your position actually is,
You're trying to
because
compare
I'm
diets.
misunderstanding.
You're trying to compare diets and overall health outcomes. This isn't a debate
Okay,
about
wait, hold on. You're breaking up really bad. I'm just not understanding your position here and what point you're trying to make. So I'd like you to explain.
because you want to talk about overall health outcomes. They're irrelevant because as long as I could show that you believe your diet causes disease, none of that matters. Because without your supplements, which are artificial, and you can't force anybody to take supplements. You don't. It's unethical. You can't force anybody to inject themselves with chemicals or do whatever. The simple fact that you believe your diet causes vitamin deficiencies, that makes your diet uh, deficient, which means it causes disease. Without these supplements, we wouldn't even be talking about, health outcomes and how healthful you think your diet is. Your
Okay,
diet is your diet. Supplements are not part of the diet. This is
okay.
something completely. So, bottom line is this: if we use the
I
same
don't.
logic,
Well, wait a second. I don't understand how I'm being a hypocrite here because I'm not against supplementation.
yeah, but you believe your diet causes disease.
Well, no, if you supplement and eat the correct fortified foods, then
Right, but
this wouldn't.
supplements are not part of the diet. They're dietary supplements. They are supplements to
Okay,
the diet. They're not
okay,
part of the
sure.
diet. Right. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay. So how am I being inconsistent here?
So you do believe your diet causes disease, right?
Okay, without supplementation or eating fortified
Right.
foods. Okay,
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
okay.
that is
You're breaking up.
supplement.
Sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just going to
No,
tell
no,
you when
no.
you're breaking up, just so
No,
people understand what you're
I
saying.
appreciate that. I'd rather. I'm saying that without supplements, your diet causes disease. And because supplements are not part of the diet, your diet causes disease. And you have no ethical grounds on which to suggest people should take supplements. It's
Okay,
unethical for you to say people should
no, it's
inject
not.
themselves or put these foreign substances that are largely untested in their bodies.
No,
And
it's not.
and most of these supplements aren't like most of B12 supplements aren't even B12. They're just, synthetic analogs that aren't even, they're not, chemically, they're not the same, most of them.
Okay, well, there's cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin, adenosocobalamin. Methylcobalamin is the one that occurs in nature. There's research proving that cyanocobalamin reverses deficiency. So I don't
You've
really.
never done any meta-analysis on that, so we're just going to
Well, what do
dismiss
you
that
mean?
claim.
Well, okay, so there is methylcobalamin.
Look, I made my point. I don't think we need to go down any
I don't
further.
think you, well, I don't think you even really had a point.
That,
Okay, so
that's not an argument, but that's okay.
okay, well, listen, just because your diet is nutritionally complete, where you don't need to supplement anything, that doesn't mean it won't cause disease.
Yeah, but a diet that is deficient in vitamins will for sure cause disease. See
Yeah,
the difference?
and that's why you take a supplement or eat fortified foods.
Yeah, but that's no longer part of the diet. Those are
Okay,
supplements.
that's fine. Do you think our ancient ancestors or any population has ever not dealt with deficiencies? Like, you really think any population on Earth wouldn't have benefited from, modern technology with supplementation and fortification of foods?
No, I think they would have benefited
Yeah.
from moving to an area where they could get some fish, for example. I think they would have benefited moving to an area where that was, rich. The
Well,
soil was rich. What? That's what?
that's not pragmatic. Also, again, like if you're going to go down this route, you're going to have to prove that taking a supplement is less healthful than eating animal products that happen to contain these nutrients, but also contain things you don't want, like saturated fat and cholesterol.
I already proved that without supplements, you believe your diet causes disease, and you have no ethical grounds to make people take supplements. So you can't sell this diet as some kind of a healthful diet when it comes with needles and pills and all
You
these
don't have
fortified
to.
foods.
No, you don't have to inject yourself with needles if you're vegan.
Well, whatever you are. Uh,
I am. Yeah, I am, but you don't
yeah,
need to.
but you believe you do, and most vegans take some kind of supplement or fortified food, which
Oh,
in and of
okay.
itself means that the
Y-
diet is deficient. If you have to supplement the diet, that means you're deficient. But I think we should move on past that. And I never expected you to agree, but I made my point, so I don't need to beat a dead horse anymore.
what do you mean? I did agree. If you don't supplement or eat fortified foods, if you eat a particular diet, then you will develop some sort of problem from the deficiency that.
Veganism, from veganism,
Yeah,
the
okay.
vegan diet. Okay, fine. Moving right
Yeah.
along.
And just to be clear, the only thing that you'd for sure be deficient in on a vegan diet if you don't supplement or eat fortified foods is B12. Vitamin D, again, it's heavily dependent on things like sunlight. And if you actually look at the data, 46% of Americans are vitamin D deficient, with 83% of blacks being deficient. There's
That's
also
because they eat a plant-based diet. That's because America.
you're saying 83% of black people in America are eating plant-based diets, but
No, I'm saying Americans eat a plant-based diet. Maybe if these people
really,
ate a lot more meat and eggs and drank some raw milk, maybe they wouldn't have this vitamin D
how much
deficiency.
vitamin D is in
I
raw milk?
who cares?
Okay, so you don't actually know how much vitamin D is in these products, but you're saying
Well, there is vitamin D in raw milk. There's vitamin
how
D.
much? Well, how much? Is it enough to prevent a deficiency?
Well, obviously, you get some from the sun, and then you get the rest from your food, and that's what we've done forever and ever. And
Okay,
at least some of us have been fine. So I don't need to provide you with any numbers because you don't understand how vitamin D works in the body anyway. So we're
you
not going down that path.
are you trying to claim that in European countries where people like traditionally drank a lot of milk, you're saying they never developed vitamin D deficiencies?
Yeah, that's all they did. All they did is drink milk. They didn't eat meat. They didn't eat organs. They didn't eat
You're
eggs.
saying vitamin
They
D
didn't
deficiency.
run around naked in the sun. No, they just drank milk and nothing else. Come on, bro. Let's move on.
Okay,
I don't
well,
have time for
no,
this.
no, no. You're just creating a double standard here. Sorry. No, well, listen. In Canada, by law, if you're producing a dairy product, it has to be what's the word? You have to add vitamin D to that dairy product. So if you're selling milk, you have to fortify it with vitamin D because vitamin D deficiencies here are so common. And it's a huge public health issue. So the government has made a law where you have to fortify it with vitamin D. Um,
Okay.
Again, I don't understand the issue with fortification and supplementation when it prevents these deficiencies.
Okay. So I'm glad you said what you had to say. Now I'm going to move on. I wanted to know where your particular brand of morality that the entire world disagrees with, except for vegans and animal rights activists. Where does that come from? Like, what is it based in? This morality that it's not okay to eat animals. What is that based in?
It's a logical extension of the idea of human rights. If you believe that you should have the right to live, experience well-being, you don't think somebody should be able to abuse or exploit or kill you, then that just logically follows into animal rights. Because, for the same reasons you'd be against needlessly harming a human being, you should also be against needlessly harming an animal.
Okay, so you say this is your opinion. Thus, this morality is subjective. Is this correct?
Morality is inherently subjective.
That's your opinion. Fine.
Well,
So
no.
if
Can you prove that
yes,
morality is objective?
no, and I don't care to. You're
Right.
saying
So it's inherently
morality.
subjective.
You're
Right.
saying morality is subjective. Thus, I would like to know how is it that you think you're being logically consistent when you believe morality is inherently subjective, and yet at the same time you're pushing an objective moral standard? How is that logically consistent? How
Um,
can you both hold on, let me finish. How can you both at the same time believe morality is subjective and objective? Rectify that for me.
well, I'm not saying morality is subjective and objective at the same time. Um, the concept of morality occurs in a social context, and morality is essentially just pro-social behaviors. So you can even study this in like rodents. Rats will like engage in play because it's a pro-social behavior that benefits, uh, each party. So that's essentially what morality is. Now, in in that context, like a pro-social context, you're going to value things like well-being, life extension. So if that's something you value, you do have to bootstrap those values. But again, it's like it all requires a context. But within that context, you can objectively say, okay, well, this action is immoral because it goes against the principles we've bootstrapped onto morality.
Wait, are you saying rats are have morality?
No, they might not be able to understand the concept of morality, but they do create social contracts. They do engage in pro-social behaviors, which is essentially what morality is.
So they do have morality.
They do have a moral agency to a certain extent.
Okay. Okay, but you still didn't explain to me how someone who believes morality is subjective is pushing an objective moral standard. Because if you
Well,
believe
I just
morality is,
explained
hold
that
on,
to you.
no, you didn't. Because if you think that morality is subjective, then the way I view the world is just as legitimate as the way you view the world. But you disagree with that because you believe there's some kind of objective moral standard, at least when it comes to the treatment of people and animals. So how you have to rectify for me how somebody who believes in subjective morality can at the same time push an objective moral standard and basically judge people for being bad people, which is what you do. When you seem to believe that their morality being subjective just as much as your morality, it should be just as valid as your view. But there's that inconsistency there that you unfortunately did not explain.
Well, no, I did explain it to you. So
No, you
morality
say
is
you did, but you didn't
no.
explain it.
Well, listen, morality is basically created in a social context, and they're like ethics are basically behaviors that are pro-social. So, again, if we put this in a human context, a pro-social ethical behavior is to help someone who's injured. So it's morally good to help someone who's injured because that's a pro-social behavior. That doesn't mean morality is objective, but in that pro-social context, that is a good thing to help someone who's injured.
Right.
So
So you're
I'm not
saying morality
claiming.
is not subjective.
No, I
You're
am saying
saying,
morality is subjective. I'm just saying morality is it's just a concept that arises in a social context, and pro-social behaviors are seen as good because they benefit the social group.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but just because
Well, let me give you an
ev
example. Well, let me actually explain this a little further.
no, I
So,
get what you're saying. I was going to give an example actually,
sure,
because
sure.
I understand exactly what you're saying. You're saying that people agree, generally tend to agree on what's good, so that, but that's still subjective morality. Like, for example, if we all agreed that the sky is blue, that still doesn't make the or we rather, sorry, we agree, let's say all of us agree that vanilla ice cream is better than chocolate. That still doesn't make vanilla objectively better than chocolate. We just happen to agree that it's better. And you know, you used a lot of different terms, but you did not rectify how somebody who believes morality is subjective can push an objective moral standard, because that's exactly what you're doing. If you're judging people for being immoral, you're pushing, you're at the very least you're saying that your moral subjective moral standard is better than their subjective moral standard, which in reality is pushing an objective moral standard, because if you believe morality is subjective, there is no superior morality, it's all subjective.
Okay, no, there definitely is. Again, you're ignoring the utility that ethics have. So, like again, the reason why
No, I'm
the
not
no,
ignoring the
no, no, no,
utility.
no, no. Listen, let me explain. So you are in fact ignoring the utility that ethics
No,
have.
I'm not.
You are, and I'll explain why. So, the reason morality arises in a social context is because ethical principles benefit the social group. So, it's just more advantageous to live in a society where everyone respects everyone's well-being and right and livelihood. So, um, like creating ethical principles that say it's wrong to kill someone, it benefits the social group. So, and it benefits each individual. So the utility there is that it helps you live. It prevents you from dying. What you're doing here is you're just ignoring the utility of these ethical principles and just saying, well, this is entirely subjective, and you're making like an objectivist claim. Okay, well, again,
No, you're the one making an objectivist
listen,
claim, and
no,
now
no, no, listen, don't cut me
you're
off, please.
skirting around
Don't
you're
cut me off,
skirting around
please.
the fact
Don't cut
that,
me off, please. Don't cut
can
me off.
you address, okay, but can you address the fact that you've made objective moral claims and all the time? You call people evil, murderers. You're making objective moral claims when it comes to eating meat, and now you're trying to wiggle out of this by talking about something that's completely irrelevant
No,
to
it's
what
not.
I'm talking about.
Well,
Yes, it
no, it's
is.
not.
Utility doesn't make
How is this irrelevant?
utility utility does not make morality objective or subjective. That's a completely
I'm not saying it
separate
makes it
issue.
objective or subjective. I'm saying
Well,
you're
then
ignoring the
explain this to me, because you're not explaining this to me.
no,
You
well,
need to
no, I am.
explain to me. You're not. You need to explain to me using terms such
Well,
as
you keep
objective
cutting me off
morality.
every time I'm trying to explain. So could you please just not
No,
cut
you're
me off?
bullshitting. You're bullshitting.
No, I'm
I
not.
have to.
Okay, can you not talk for a second so I can explain? So I think the confusion here is you think I'm making objectivist claims when I say it's wrong to kill an animal. Well, no, I'm not.
You
I'm
are.
just recognizing the utility of an ethical system. It benefits everyone.
No, it
So,
doesn't.
so how does that not benefit everyone?
What? Not
No,
killing
sorry.
animals? Not killing
Well,
animals?
yeah, it benefits us personally because it like the animal agriculture system, it increases rates of disease among humans, both chronic and infectious disease. But the point I'm trying to make here,
Where do
well,
you
no,
get
listen,
this? Where do you get this bullshit from, man? Come on,
well,
we're not
listen,
gonna.
can
I'm
you
not gonna
stop
play games
talking?
with you.
No, can you stop talking? Can you stop talking? So I think the confusion here is you're saying that I'm making objectivist claims when I say X is wrong, but Y is good. That's not an
You
objective
are.
claim. That's just recognizing the utility of an ethical system. So when I say it's wrong to rape children, well, that's not really an objectivist claim. That's just recognizing the utility of that ethical principle. If we have an ethical principle where it's wrong to rape children, well, okay, that protects children. They're going to be the next generation. They're not going to be psychologically and mentally fucked up. It benefits the entire society. So
Yeah,
again,
but that's an objective moral claim.
that's not an
It
objective
doesn't.
moral claim. That's just
It sure
recognizing the
is.
benefit of that
It sure
utility. No,
is.
it's not.
What,
Well, no, it's well. Look,
whether hold on, you're wrong. Whether a claim is subjective or objective, that
you're breaking up. Sorry,
objective claim.
You have to repeat your
Any
sentence.
better? Is this better?
Yeah.
Better? Okay. You can have an objective or utilitarian, and you can have a subjective claim utilitarian. It could be irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether it's utilitarian or not. As soon as you say that this is wrong for everybody, you're making an objective moral claim. Point blank, period. You are. If you say murder is wrong, point blank, period, you're making an objective
Start again.
moral
You're
claim.
breaking up really hard. Start again where you said murder is wrong. That's when you really started to break up.
If you say that murder is wrong on all accounts, you're making an objective moral claim. That's it.
No. And I'm not saying murder is wrong on all accounts.
Sometimes murder is okay.
Yeah. Like for self-defense, if you're killing somebody who's causing a massive amount of harm to everyone else,
that's
then
not murder.
Okay, well, then you're just playing word games.
I'm not playing word games. I'm using the words the way they were designed to use. You're playing word games. Anyway, so you have not answered.
Why don't you define murder?
No, I'm not.
I think it'll be important later on in the debate. Why don't you define murder?
You can look it up in the dictionary if you want to. I'm not going down that rabbit hole because you're wiggling away from the fact that you judge people, okay, for eating animal products.
Yeah, I judge people.
You've called them evil.
Well, wait. Do you think it's wrong to judge people who rape children?
That's not the point I'm making. I'm not saying you're wrong for judging people. The point that I'm making is that when you start judging people according to some kind of moral standard that you believe exists out there, what you're saying is that if they don't conform to this morality, you're basically calling them evil because this morality is objective. If you truly believe morality was
not necessarily, like, again, you're not really giving a good case for why any of these claims
what's objective morality? What's objective morality?
What would be an example of objective morality? Well, like, there isn't an example because I don't believe morality is objective. Like, again, it requires context.
Theoretically, what's objective morality?
Theoretically?
You can't have subjective without objective. They don't exist with one another.
Honestly, I think the only way for morality to actually be objective is maybe if some sort of, like, supernatural god being set moral standards, but even then, that just wouldn't really make sense to me. Again, morality is inherently subjective because it arises in social contexts. So, for example, certain cultures, like Germany, for instance, they believe the minimum age of consent is 14. In Canada, the minimum age of consent is 16. In the United States, the minimum age of consent is 18. So they've all come to different conclusions for when a young person can give consent. So it's subjective in that way, but they have created standards for themselves that are pro-social. So even though the minimum age of consent in Germany is really low, 14, no one's allowed to have sex with a 5-year-old. Because even though the standard is different in Germany than in the United States, they have created a pro-social ethical system that does protect very young children. So do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the standard all over the world is that eating meat is morally okay. That's the standard.
Oh, okay.
But you don't like
that standard's wrong. Well, at one point, slavery was considered acceptable. Do you think slavery is acceptable? So this is just an appeal to tradition.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I wasn't appealing. Okay, if I was making an appeal to something, what was I appealing
Wait,
for?
can you repeat yourself? You broke up pretty hard there.
If you're saying I was making an appeal to something, I would like you to tell me what I was appealing for.
Okay, well, you're saying everyone, like pretty much every culture around the world, thinks eating meat is acceptable. I
That's a
guess that
fact.
that would be
That's
that
not
would
an
be both.
argument, but that's not an argument. That's a
Well, yeah, that's
fact.
because it's illogical. Well, it's actually okay. Well, it's a fact, but that you can't use that to argue for something.
I wasn't arguing. I was just stating a fact.
Okay.
That thus I wasn't making an appeal for anything. I just stated a fact. Anyway, your
Okay. Well,
morality
do
is
you understand?
incoherent. Yeah, I
How is my
understand. I think
morality how is my
it's
morality?
incoherent.
Well, explain why.
It's
Well,
it's
explain why.
hypocritical, self-refuting, and I think I just
Well,
invalidated your
explain
morality
why.
because because you're making these grandiose claims what's right for society, uh, while you believe that morality is subjective. And if it is subjective, I get to determine what it is, what's moral for me. You don't have a say in that, but you think you do. So you must believe that morality is objective.
Okay,
You're
so
incoherent.
okay, so is it a grandiose claim to claim that it's wrong to rape a 5-year-old child?
No, that's objectively wrong
Why is that objectively wrong?
because I said so.
Oh, okay, so then you agree that morality is subjective.
No, uh, it's not because I said so. It's because I believe in a higher power that instilled moral
Okay.
that that's not an argument, and you know,
I'm sorry, this is just getting
do you have an
hilarious.
do you have an argument actually? Do you have an argument, or are you just gonna use
Sorry,
sophistry because
are
you're getting your ass kicked?
are you so wait, are you saying that it's
Do you
more
have
no,
no? What
listen.
I'm saying, no, you listen. What I'm saying is, do you have an argument, or are you just going to use sophistry because you're getting your ass whooped?
So, do you believe it's morally acceptable to eat meat because a higher power tells you it's okay?
I believe it's acceptable to eat meat because we're carnivores, baby. Get used to it. Anyway, let's talk about name the trait because I
Okay,
know you
well,
guys love that argument.
that's so wait, you're saying it's morally acceptable to kill and eat animals because we've evolved to eat animals and that's the most ideal diet for us?
I'm saying it's morally acceptable to eat animals because no one has ever made an argument why it isn't. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, I guess we should move on to name the trait because this will actually
Yeah.
this will cover a lot. Okay, so why don't you name the trait? What trait is lacking in animals that, if lacking in a human being, would justify killing a human being?
I reject your syllogism as a fallacy, and I would like you to prove that it isn't. So we're going to have to, I guess, falsify this little experiment, and you're going to have to prove to me that this isn't the fallacy of the single cause because I believe it is. So we're going to have to flip the script on you, and you're going to have to prove that your test is actually valid because I don't think it is. Because what you're really saying, right? Because what name the trait ultimately aims to do is give animals some, if not all, human rights, right? You
No,
say it's a
some
logical
human rights, but not all human
some.
rights. I don't think animals should have the
Well, I
right to
mean,
vote.
you say this now, but
Well,
I think
no, I'm not arguing for animals to have the right to vote because it just makes
right.
no
That's
sense.
fine. That's fine. Right. It doesn't make sense not to eat animals either, but you don't seem to realize that. So what you're saying is that there is a certain quality, and presumably you know what that quality is, that animals possess that we also possess, that gives them the right to life and liberty, or
Right,
something like that. Yeah.
sentience and the ability to experience well-being.
So what you're saying is that the reason why human beings have the right to life and liberty is because we're sentient.
No, the reason we want a right to life and liberty is because we're sentient and have an ability to experience well-being. The reason we give ourselves these rights is because it's just beneficial to us, like evolutionary speaking, for survival. Again, ethics are created in a social context, and ethics are just basically a set of principles that are pro-social.
Yeah, but if you're trying to extend some of the human rights to animals, it has to be in an analogous situation. You can't say that we give ourselves these rights, but sentience guarantees animals these rights. And it has to be logically coherent, right? It has to be the
Well,
the
again,
justification the justification for why we have the right to life and liberty. If we're going to use something like sentience for animals, has to be exactly the same and analogous when it comes to whether you're talking about people or animals. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, again, the reason we value human life is because we're sentient and we're capable of experiencing well-being. If those are traits you value in humans, you should also value those in humans, or sorry, animals.
Okay, so sentience doesn't give them the right to life and liberty. You're saying because they're sentient, we should emotionally give them those same rights.
Okay,
You wish
you're kind of conflating rights with ethical principles. You should kind
they
of
don't have the right. So you're not saying animals have these rights.
well,
You're saying we should
listen.
extend. Well, you listen because I'm not finished.
Okay.
Uh, you're saying that animals don't have these rights. We should extend this courtesy to them because of fifis.
Yeah, essentially. Like,
Uh,
sorry, are you saying your emotional well-being is legitimate, but animals aren't?
No, that's not
Like,
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
okay.
that what I'm saying is that the reason why we have human rights is because we're human, is because of all these different traits that make us human. I'm saying you can't just extrapolate sentience and act like that's what makes us human. It doesn't. And the reason,
Okay.
again, why they're called human rights is because they're afforded to humans. So if you're going to extract a single human right, and argue, or sorry, not a human right, but a trait that animals happen to have, you're going to have to show me how it is that that same trait, sentience, is what gives us the right to life and liberty. Because you're trying to use sentience to give animals these rights by logical extension of human rights, you're going to have to demonstrate to me how it is that it's sentience that gives us human rights and not our humanity. So go ahead.
How is sentience even separate from humanity? Like, I mean, they're two different things, but they intersect. Like, if a human being wasn't sentient, then why the hell would you care if they have rights? Because if they're not sentient, then it's hard to even argue that they're living at all.
Well,
Can you even
kids with,
define humanity for me? Like, explain traits that are distinctly human.
well, since you're a materialist, I could just say our DNA, and that should be enough for you, right?
Okay, so you'd be in favor of holocausting aliens that have the exact same level of intelligence as us, and even the same social norms. They're like us in every single way, only their DNA is different.
Okay, so you made fun of me for believing in a higher power, but now you're saying aliens exist?
I'm not saying aliens exist, it's a
Well,
hypothetical.
then we're not gonna talk about some
I'm
life
not
form that
saying,
doesn't
okay,
exist.
well, listen, I'm not saying
Let's
it
talk about the
is
real world. How about we
hypothetical.
talk about
No. You can't run away from this hypothetical. So what you were saying is the difference in DNA is what justifies needlessly killing animals for food. Well, I guess you technically don't think it's needless, but you think DNA is what justifies killing animals for food, but DNA should give humans a right to life. Okay, well, if there was some sort of species that was just as intelligent as humans, that had language, that even had the same sort of social norms, you think it would be okay to just needlessly kill them for food just because they have different DNA?
I think if such a species did exist, and that's a very ridiculous proposition since you
So
don't
a
have and
supernatural
can
being,
I
so
finish?
supernatural
Can I
being seems
finish?
less
I'd like to
ridiculous.
be able to finish. I'd like to
Great.
be able to finish. What you're basically suggesting is a supernatural being
No,
in
so
quantity.
are we
Well,
supernatural?
whatever.
Are
Okay,
we
fine. You
supernatural?
win. You win. You win. You win.
Right. Okay. So a
Uh,
supernatural being is more ridiculous than aliens.
anyway. Yeah, aliens, not ridiculous at all. Anyway, if we lived in a world where aliens did exist and manifested themselves, I think we'd have to first and foremost sit down and seriously reconsider our morality. But because that's not a problem, your hypothetical, I wipe my ass with it. Basically, it's nonsense. Secondly, what would
No, no,
be
no,
what?
no, no.
Hold on,
You
I'm
can't
not
run
done.
away
Hold
from
on.
this.
I'm not running away from
You
it. You
are.
just won't let me finish. No, I'm not. Shut
Okay,
up and
fine.
let me finish.
Okay,
Jesus
finish.
Christ, dude.
Okay, finish.
Yeah, yeah, let me. Now, if these uh, aliens do manifest themselves, and I'm sure they're all going to be vegan, why would we have a reason to kill them? For what reason?
Well, like again, you don't really have a valid reason to kill animals.
Of course I do. I'm a carnivore. I need to eat meat.
Okay, well, you can eat alien meat. What if
Why?
the
What?
alien meat? What if the alien meat was actually more nutritious and healthful than a cow? Would it be okay to just genocide these alien species, even though they're just as intelligent? They have language. They even have the same social norms as human beings. But because they have different DNA from you, that
Of
would.
course, of course. Fuck yeah, kill them all. What's wrong with that?
Okay, so DNA is what justifies killing animals.
Humanity,
You're going with that.
humanity. No, I'm
Well,
saying that.
define.
No, no,
Well,
no, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that name the trait is a fallacy, and you need to prove
how
to
is it
me
fallacy?
because it's a single cause fallacy. You're acting like
No, it's not.
the reason. Yes, it is.
Well,
You're
explain.
acting like. Yeah, I'm trying to. You're acting like sentience is what gives us human rights. It's not. It's our humanity that gives us human rights.
Okay, well, explain the
Duh.
traits of humanity. What traits make a human?
Yeah, I already did.
What? DNA?
Now, so
Sorry,
because
is DNA is the trait?
yeah, yeah. So because name the trait
No, listen,
is
is DNA the trait, yes or no?
it's a DNA.
It's
Our
a,
DNA comes with a whole bunch of different traits. This is the whole point I'm trying to make that
you
make us
can't
human.
you can't just say
It is.
no, 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 no. So
I can.
basically here you're just making an appeal to species.
No, I'm
Again,
not. No, no,
it's
no, 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 no,
you're
no, no,
making an arbitrary
no,
distinction.
no,
Yes, you are.
no. What I am saying is that your name the trait trick is a fallacy, and I would like you to prove that it actually works because you don't believe that I can name a trait that makes us different enough from animals that would make it okay for us to eat animals. And I think that's
Yeah, but
bullshit. So
sentience. If animals weren't sentient, I wouldn't have a moral problem with you killing and eating them.
So you're saying that if I flip the script on you basically and I say name the trait absent in animals and plants, sorry, animals and human beings. No, my bad. This is so confusing. Name the trait absent in plants that if it were absent in animals and human beings, it would make it okay to eat animals and human beings. And your answer
Sentience.
to that is
Sentience.
sentience.
Yeah.
Thus, according to your sentience claim, it's okay to kill and eat kids born with anencephaly.
What's anencephaly? Explain that.
Anencephaly is a disease that kids are born with and makes them, they don't have any sentience. But they're alive. They're not fully
Um,
functioning, obviously, but they're born without sentience. But they're alive and they're human beings. You're saying it's okay to eat them, kill and eat them.
Anencephaly doesn't make them not sentient.
Yes, it does.
Are you sure about that?
100,000,000,000% sure. Maybe not in all cases, but there are cases of anencephaly that make these little babies, and they don't get to live very long, but it makes them, they don't have any
Oh,
sentience.
okay. Well, look, I don't know too much about this disease. I'm just like quickly looking up on like the internet here, but it says affected babies are usually blind, deaf, unconscious, and unable to feel pain. Almost all babies with encephaly die before birth, although some may survive a few hours or a few days after birth. So it's
You
literally a
have
death sentence.
you
So
have you have videos of kids with anencephaly that are 3, 4 years old on YouTube. So
really?
usually, yeah, yeah, really.
Okay, well,
But
if they're well, listen, if they're not sentient, then I wouldn't have any moral objection to killing them. Although I think the decision to kill them would ultimately come down to the parents. Because if you like, if some random stranger were to just, destroy the kid with encephaly, that would cause the parents emotional distress, which I think would be morally wrong. So I'd say the ultimate decision to kill the kid would just come down to the parents.
okay, so you just added another axiom and you moved the goalpost.
What are you talking about? I didn't move any goalpost.
You sure did.
No,
Why?
I
What
didn't.
does? Yeah, you sure did.
No,
Why
I didn't.
does?
I'm just
You
considering the
sure
full
did.
context. I'm just considering the full context of the situation. Well, no, again, you think it's okay to kill animals, correct? Like for food?
So what you're
Well, no, no,
saying,
no,
and
no.
I'm,
Like this is something
you
you
know, you just moved the
personally.
goalpost.
No, no,
You
listen.
just,
This is no. Let me
yeah, you
speak.
did.
So this is something you'd agree with personally. So you think it's okay to kill animals for food, correct?
So you just moved the
No, no, no,
goalpost.
no, no. Listen, you think
Yeah,
it's
you
okay to
did.
kill animals for food, correct?
So you just moved the
No, no,
goalpost.
no, no. Listen, listen. Answer my question. This is something that you'd agree with. So just answer my question. This will only take a second. You believe it's okay to
So,
kill animals for food, correct?
so you just moved the
No, you
goalpost, and
believe it's
now
okay to kill
you're.
animals for food, correct? You believe it's okay to kill animals for food.
I'm not letting you off the hook here. Are you
No,
crazy?
no.
This is the
Just
debate.
shut up and answer the fucking
You,
question because this is something you'd agree with. You believe it's okay to kill
you
animals for
just,
food, correct? So
you
does
just
that
moved
give
the
you the right to
goalpost,
kill
bro.
anyone's animal you want? So if I had a pet cow, or if you went onto a farm with a bunch of cows, that gives you the right to just kill as many animals as you want, even though they're not your property?
Oh, so you're saying the baby is the property of those
Yeah,
people.
yeah, essentially.
Okay, so you just moved the goalpost and
No,
added another axiom. Yes,
no,
you
I
did.
didn't
And
create
you,
I didn't create
yes,
another axiom.
yeah, you did. And the
How did I create
axiom,
another axiom?
exactly. I'm glad we could finally talk about that.
Okay, explain.
Uh, you added another axiom. Now you're saying property is important. Before you were saying sentience is the only thing that's important. Now you're bringing property rights and property laws into this. So you're adding another axiom. Of course you are. You're moving the goalposts. This is why name the trait doesn't work, because it tries to reduce uh, everything to one single trait, and then when you get caught up in your own bullshit, now you want to talk about, oh, property rights and the feelings of the parents. All of a sudden you're moving the goalpost, you're adding another axiom. If it's solely about the sentience of the animal, that's all that it is about. Another thing, if you're saying that it's okay, that sentience is why we can't kill these animals, um, you're also saying that within your moral system, it's okay to eat dead people because they're not sentient, right?
I literally don't care about that personally. There's other reasons why it's not a good idea to eat dead people.
Right. So now you're adding other axioms.
Well,
Or,
no, it's just that there's things
oh,
beyond just the concept of morality that makes it a bad idea to eat dead people. Like,
okay, I
what
get
is
it.
it?
I
No,
get it.
well, you understand that
Disease.
causes
I
diseases like
get it. Yeah, no, I
cancer.
get it. Disease. But speaking about morality once again, because that's what this debate is about, you're saying it's okay to, within your moral system, if you accept sentience, you're saying it's okay to eat dead people.
For me personally, I wouldn't really care. But again, if we're
Right. So
talking
it's
about
okay.
well, for me, but I'm saying, like, again, the concept of morality is a social concept. So if this sort of idea doesn't work in a social system, then it would be seen as immoral to the social group. So a lot of
Right. So
people,
you're
so a lot
adding
of people
another
think it's,
axiom now.
I'm not adding another axiom. I'm
Of
just
course you
explaining
are.
to you how these things fucking work.
Right.
How is
That's
that
what I
adding
try to
another
tell you.
axiom?
Because at first you're trying to reduce humanity to sentience, and now you're saying humanity is social contracts, and humanity is the feeling of the relatives, and all of a sudden you're adding other
No,
axioms. Of course you are. Okay,
no.
now explain this to me. Explain this to me. If sentience is what gives the animal the right to life and liberty, um, that would seem like that's the most important trait of the animal, right?
Well, I'd say sentience would be the most important trait. That would determine moral consideration, because without sentience, it's hard to even argue that the thing is living. Like I understand that like plants are considered living things just because they have cells, but without sentience, you don't have consciousness. So if something doesn't have consciousness, like it doesn't have any moral consideration because it can't experience well-being.
Yeah, that's your
It's basically
subjective
like
view.
saying, well,
That's
do you feel bad for a rock? Like rocks aren't sentient. Would you feel bad if a rock gets like smashed up?
Yeah, rocks are also not alive. Rocks
Well,
don't
yeah,
have
I
right,
understand that.
right.
So sorry, if a human, so look, I've been looking on encephaly for a little bit. Apparently, children born with encephaly, they only survive at most a few days after birth. So I don't know what you're talking about. Some of these things living for several years after
No, you
birth.
could look. There are videos on YouTube
That's
of
nice
kids
that
with
there's videos, but according to all of these texts I'm looking at, they only survive a few days after birth. Even if they did survive for several years after birth, why would I care if they live or die if they're not conscious?
right. So
It's like
your
so
position, yeah, you don't care. You don't care about kids born
why would
with
I care? Yeah, why would I care about a
I'm not.
carrot?
I'm
Like,
not
why would I
saying
care
you
about
should or
broccoli?
shouldn't. Wow.
Okay, so this is
Wow.
kind of interesting because
Okay,
I have defined.
so
No. Wait, this is kind of interesting because you're claiming humanity has something to do with DNA structure. Well, are children born with encephaly or some sort of like genetic disease that causes mental retardation, like Down syndrome? Well, you could actually argue that they're not human and they lack humanity because they don't have the DNA structure of a typical human. This is actually this is actually the argument
you
that
could.
Nazis used. This is actually the argument that Nazis used
Oh,
to kill off
so
other
now,
races.
no, okay, so the Nazis were right. Anyway, dude. So what you're saying is that within your moral system, you would be okay. It is okay. It has to be okay. If sentience is your trait, it's okay to kill and eat kids with anencephaly, and it's okay to eat dead people. Also, uh, you seem to say that sentience is the most important trait when without life in the first place, sentience doesn't even exist. So that's incoherent. But here's a little curveball for you.
Well,
If you're
I'm not saying. Well, listen, you're kind of saying this in a weird way. I'm not saying life doesn't exist without sentience, but without sentience, something doesn't have consciousness. So why would you care about the well-being of a carrot when carrots can't even experience well-being when they're not conscious? They lack sentience. So for you claiming that, oh, it's fucked up for me to care about the not care about the life of something with encephaly, which doesn't have the capacity to have consciousness, well, that's like you saying, okay, well, why don't you care about the well-being of a carrot? Like, okay, they're living, but they're not sentient. So if they're not conscious, they don't even know they're living because they're not conscious. So
yeah,
why would something like that deserve moral consideration?
wow. So you basically just said that a kid born with anencephaly is has the moral value of a carrot. I'm just going to leave it at that, and I'm going to ask you this:
Look, it does go a little deeper than that because the parents of the child do have to be taken
moving the
into account.
goalpost,
If
moving the goalpost.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying,
Yes, you
I'm just talking
are.
about the practical reality of the situation.
Yeah, I
Ultimately,
know.
decision to kill the child would be upon the parents because their well being is also affected by this.
Right.
So
Well,
I'm just
that's
saying,
fine.
if it's the parent's decision, like basically the child is the parent's property, it would be their decision to kill it or not. But
Okay,
I'm
fine.
just
That's
saying,
fine.
yeah,
You still move the goalpost,
no,
but
I'm not.
okay,
Define what it means to move the goalpost.
first you said
No,
sentience.
define what it means to move the goalpost because I don't think you even understand the term.
You're changing the criteria, okay?
How am I changing the criteria? All I'm
Well, I already
saying
ex
is, no, all I'm saying is I don't find it morally wrong to kill a child born with encephaly
Well,
because it's not sentient.
I
The
know.
only caveat to that is I don't think any random person gets to decide whether or not that kid gets destroyed. I think the ultimate decision should be left to the parents because that decision would affect their well-being. So that's not moving the goalpost. That's just me saying the parents are the ones with the right to kill the child or not the rest of society. And
Yeah,
it's
so
the same with
you're
any
at
sort of, it's the same with
you're
any
not
other
done yet?
sort of property law. It's
Okay.
no different than any other property law.
Yeah, okay. So now you're saying that in addition to sentience, property laws need to be respected too. That's what you're saying. And that's fine. Uh, you did,
No, like again, you're just misrepresenting my position.
no,
All
I'm
I'm
not.
saying
That's
is,
exactly what you
well,
said.
no, listen. A house is not a sentient being, so a house does not deserve a like moral consideration. But if you destroy someone's house that they paid for, they spent their life saving to buy, if you destroy their house, that would massively impact their well-being. So it's immoral to destroy someone else's house. It's the same sort of thing with this encephaly situation. So
Okay,
ultimately, if
so
someone wants to destroy their own house, I think they should have the right to do that, but that's not the
right,
right of every other person.
right. So at the very least, you're saying that the parents have the right to kill and the kid born with anencephaly,
Right.
and it's okay for family members to eat their deceased family members. You think that's what your moral system basically gets reduced to, which
That's
is,
not so again, you're kind of misrepresenting my position. I'm
no,
saying
I'm
that's
not.
not inherent no, I'm saying that's not inherently morally wrong.
Right.
If that sort of thing occurred in a society and that didn't have negative like that didn't have a negative impact on social norms, then I'd say that's immoral.
Oh,
Or
so
sorry, I'd
now
say that's
you're
moral.
right. So now you snuck in another axiom,
I didn't
social
sneak
norms.
in. No, I didn't
You
sneak in
sure
another
did.
axiom. You're just trying to misrepresent my position. I'm saying that's not
No.
inherently morally wrong, and you're trying to misrepresent my position by saying, "Oh, well, you think it's just okay if like people if like your dad dies, you could just scoop him up and eat him." Well, no, it's not that simple. I'm
Yeah,
saying it's
okay.
not inherently
Right.
wrong, but again, you're removing the other part of the discussion we have about morals
Right, but
being
right,
pro-social.
but if I use the trait intelligence, then you're gonna say I have to eat a retard. But if I say no, I can't eat a retard because blah 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 blah, you're gonna say you're logically inconsistent, which is exactly what you're doing. But anyway, I got this
Well,
question for
no, no,
you.
no, 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 no. I wouldn't do that. Again, we're talking about these things in an abstract
You've done
No, we're
this. You've
talking
done
about
this in so
things.
many debates.
No, no, shut
You.
up. Quiet. We're talking about this in an abstract context. So again,
Okay,
there are
abstract.
practical reasons why if you did actually believe, like if you were to name the trait intelligence, that it would make it okay to like kill and eat animals. Okay, well, if intelligence makes it okay to kill and eat animals, then by logical extension, it'd be okay to kill and eat mentally retarded people. In an abstract, you'd have to agree that that's not inherently immoral. But there are other arguments to like say, okay, well, this would negatively impact society in several ways, that therefore it's wrong. But again, we're talking about things in an abstract.
Right, so I did exactly that to you now, and you still seem to think that name the trait is legit. But this is what I'd like you to
How
answer.
is name the trait
If
illegitimate? You still haven't actually explained this. You said it's a logical fallacy. Well, explain why name the trait is a logical fallacy.
okay, so if sentience gives this animal the right to life and liberty,
No,
all
no,
I have to
okay,
do,
okay, wait. You're conflating rights and ethics again. So say it in a way that makes a little bit more sense. Instead of saying
Okay,
rights,
so
moral consideration.
all right, all right, all right. Yeah,
It
okay,
just, the way you're wording it
semantics.
just makes it very confusing.
Okay, so if you're saying the animal having sentience gives it, uh, I have to be morally consistent, and
No,
yes,
so I think
that's
what you mean to say, like I think what you mean to say, an animal being sentient gives it moral consideration, or makes it deserving of
okay.
moral
Yeah,
consideration.
right. Which essentially gives it the rights because it's all about giving it
Well,
human
no.
rights.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no,
it
no.
is.
Again, like there
Whatever. Let's
being
not play semantics. Let's not
no,
play semantics. We
no,
agree.
semantics
We
matter.
agree.
You're making things
Okay,
very
moral. Okay, it gives it
stop
moral
conflating rights with
consideration.
ethics. Stop conflating rights with ethics. Just be very clear with the way you're speaking, because right now you're making it very confusing. I think what you mean to say when you're talking about this, the trait sentience gives a being, makes a being deserving of moral consideration. So
Yeah,
that's how
okay.
you should word it.
Okay, but ultimately, what you're going to say is that you're going to try to use this name the trait trick to say that it's a logical extension of human rights, but I can't
Right.
say that. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
right along.
No, no,
So
no, no,
if
no, no, no. Listen, I keep asking you to explain why name the trait is a logical fallacy. You still haven't done
yeah,
that.
okay, right. So
No,
if
why is name the trait a
sentience,
logical fallacy?
yeah, I'm explaining it. So if
Okay.
sentience gives the animal this logical, moral, ethical consideration, all I have to do to not worry about this logical, moral, ethical consideration is take away the animal's sentience with a swift hammer blow to the head, and then I can eat it because it's no longer sentient. In other words, what gives the animal uh, the
Okay.
the
Um,
right to have sentience?
okay,
If you're
so
saying,
okay, I understand
let
what
me
you're saying
explain, let
here.
me explain,
No, I actually
let me
fully
explain.
understand what you're
So,
explaining. No, I fully understand what
okay,
you're explaining here, and this actually defeats your own
okay, so
argument. So, if I were to take a human being, modify its genetic code so that the genes are totally different from a human being, it would therefore be ethical for me to kill it?
what are you talking about?
No, you're
You're,
you're playing the stupid word game. You're playing the stupid game
no, you're
word
not
game.
answering my question.
Okay, what?
So again, if sentience gives the animal this ethical consideration, all I have to do is take away the sentience. The animal no longer has sentience, then I could kill and eat it. So my question to you is, what gives sentience? If sentience gives the animal ethical consideration when it comes to life and liberty, what gives sentience ethical consideration?
What gives sentience ethical consideration?
Yeah, why do I
Um,
have to respect sentience?
well, again, morality is pro-social behaviors, and it's based on empathy. So it's basically the idea that, okay, well, if I don't like something else, then me doing something that makes me feel bad to someone else, that would make them feel bad. So it's basically empathy. If you're sentient, you can recognize someone else is sentient, and you wouldn't want to do something that would harm them, because you know if that happened to you, it would harm them. It's basically the idea of the golden rule. That's why
Oh
you should
no.
value
See,
sentience.
oh,
Well,
I
so
should. So you say. I don't.
okay, like the problem here is with, like, without sentience, why would something deserve moral consideration if it's not even conscious?
That's just your circular reasoning. I don't agree
No,
with
no,
that.
it's not. Like, and I
Yeah.
actually gave you an
That's
explanation.
your but that's your idea. I disagree with your idea. My question that you have yet to answer is if I take away the sentience, what logical argument, not some mumble jumble you just spat out, what logical argument do you make for the animal having not the right to have sentience, but why I should have ethical consideration for that animal's sentience? Give me a logical argument.
Well, what do you mean? You said you took sentience away from the animal.
Right. Why is it unethical for me to take away the sentience?
Why is it unethical to take away the sentience? Well,
Yeah.
because you'd be killing it, essentially.
Yeah. And
Okay, so killing isn't wrong, so therefore it's okay
No,
for me to kill people?
people are not animals. What the fuck are you talking
Okay,
about?
so it's okay to take away an animal's sentience, but it's not okay to take away a human being's sentience.
See, you're making a lot of you still haven't. I'm still on
You're
there,
breaking up.
and I'm
You're
still
breaking up really
trying to.
hard. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, you're making a logical leap. All of a sudden, you want to talk
No,
about
I'm not.
humans. No, we're still on the animals, buddy. Yeah, you are. So, in other words, please
You're
answer
asking.
this question.
Well, let me just ask you. So this is what you're trying to ask. Just confirm this for me. You're trying to ask why sentience itself should be valued?
Yeah,
Okay, well, because without sentience, there's no consciousness, and without consciousness, a being doesn't deserve moral consideration because it's not conscious. That's
so
like
you're saying,
asking. Well, no,
okay,
listen.
so yeah, so let me.
That's no different than asking why should life itself be valued? Well, without
No, it
life,
is
you wouldn't
different.
have consciousness.
So you're saying that I should respect sentience because sentience.
Well, no, again, you're
That's you just
talking
engaged in circular
without
reasoning,
sentience, you wouldn't have consciousness. And without consciousness,
right?
how could something possibly deserve moral consideration? Like a carrot
Right,
isn't sentient.
consciousness.
Right, so
Right.
are you
So
saying carrots deserve moral consideration even though they're not sentient?
no, don't strawman my position. So what you
I'm
just
not
said,
strawmanning your position.
you sure are. So what you just said
How am
is
I
that
strawmanning your position?
I'm not talking about carrots. I'm talking about animals
Okay.
and sentience. So what you
Well,
just
no,
said,
no. You're basically saying that sentience doesn't matter. Okay, well, why doesn't sentience matter if sentience is required for consciousness?
sentience, consciousness is sentience. So you're engaging in
Do
circular reasoning
you
right now.
understand what sentience is? I'm feeling like you don't understand these terms.
You can say these things, but these are not arguments. So if you would like to define sentience instead of being a sophist, that would be great.
No, do you understand what sentience is? Like, it is essentially consciousness. It's the ability to subjectively view reality.
Motherfucker, that's just what I said.
Right, right.
Right. So
So
how
you
do I not
basically,
understand? So how
so
do I not understand sentience when I just defined it the same way you defined it?
okay,
God, dude.
so if sentience doesn't matter, then you're basically saying like consciousness doesn't matter. Well, if consciousness doesn't matter, then you should have no problem killing anything because sentience, like consciousness, doesn't matter. You're basically saying it's okay to kill things.
Nonsense. I'm
No, it
talking
isn't.
about
If you're saying consciousness doesn't matter, then it's okay. It's morally acceptable for me to kill you because your consciousness doesn't matter.
no, dear sophist. What I'm saying is that animal sentience doesn't matter, buddy.
Why
That's
doesn't
what
animal
I'm
sentience
saying.
matter?
Because you haven't proved that it does.
Okay. Again, why does human sentient we can go back to name the trait. What trait is lacking in animals that, if lacking in humans, would make human sentience not matter?
Why can't you answer my question?
Well, no, you're the one making this claim. Again, we're back to name the trait. So this is about sentience. So you're claiming that
No,
animal sentience doesn't
no,
matter
it's.
because they're lacking a number of traits, right?
I'm saying that you haven't given me an argument for why I should respect sentience, and I'm still waiting for the argument.
Well, animal sentience is just the ability to have consciousness.
Right.
So
Okay.
that is a trait. So
Right.
that
So
is again, if you're going to animals have that trait and humans have that trait.
I don't give a shit.
In order to claim that animal sentience doesn't matter, then they'd have to be lacking other traits besides sentience that would somehow make their sentience not matter. So if a human were also lacking those traits, name the traits that would make human sentience not matter.
No. See, you're making a logical leap from animals
Okay,
to
so
humans as if they were the same, except they're
I'm not
not. Hold on,
claiming
I'm
they're
talking.
no, I'm
Hold on.
not
Hold
they're the same.
on. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. What I am saying, and please do not misrepresent my position, what I am saying is that you haven't given me a logical argument for why I should respect sentience. You're saying sentience is, and you might not like my choice of words, but you know what I mean, is protective of the animal's life, ethically, right? And liberty. I say, fine, that's your argument. I'm saying what protects sentience. If you're saying sentience prevents me ethically from taking the animal's life, okay, fine. What prevents me logically and ethically from taking this animal's sentience?
Well, again, like if you're going to claim that sentience doesn't matter, and specifically sentience doesn't matter in animals, even though sentience is a trait that animals have and sentience is also a trait that humans have, then you're going to have to demonstrate a set number of traits that make sentience not matter in an animal, but it makes them matter in a human because humans have a set of special traits. So again, this comes back to name the trait. What
No,
traits
I
do
never
animals?
said
No, no, no. You can't just
vegan games. I never said sentience matters
ignore
in
me.
animals. No, 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 no. You're misrepresenting my position. I never said that sentience is this ultimate. I mean,
You're saying sentience doesn't matter in animals, correct?
it doesn't matter. No. I
Okay.
mean,
So,
okay, look, 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 look. Let me clarify. It matters insofar as, like, I don't think it's okay to torture animals. And I think before you slaughter
why?
them,
Well, why? Why is it wrong to torture animals? If sentience,
because it,
how does that make any sense? If their sentience doesn't matter, in order to actually experience well-being, they'd have to be sentient. So by saying, oh, it's wrong to torture them, well, that doesn't make any consistent sense because in order to care whether or not they suffer, you'd have to care that they're conscious. So, and you
okay.
just said their consciousness doesn't matter, so that's directly contradictory.
Oh, no, it's not. Look,
Yes, it is. Explain why it's not.
because if I stun the animal, it feels nothing.
Okay, and if I stun you, you'd feel nothing if I killed you.
Yeah, but I'm not livestock, buddy. You
Okay,
can't be
okay,
making.
okay. So you're
Hold
you're
on.
making a name the trait
Hey,
argument.
hey, hey, hey! Don't interrupt me,
You're
okay?
making a name the
Don't
trait argument,
interrupt
but you
me.
refuse to answer a
Don't
name the trait.
interrupt me.
Yeah, cool.
I'm saying you're making a logical leap, saying that basically people are animals, and that's stupid. I won't have any of that. What I am saying is that if you stun the animal, it doesn't feel anything. So you are, in a way, respecting the animal's sentience. Obviously, not fully, and not the animal's right to have the sentience, because you still haven't given me a logical, not an emotional, not a logical leap comparing livestock to people. You haven't given me a logical argument for why I should respect the animal's sentience insofar as that I can't just take it away from the animal.
You
Give me,
already no, listen, you already explained that you value sentience because you said it's wrong to torture animals, so you're directly contradicting
no,
yourself. You're
no, I'm
directly
not.
contradicting yourself.
No,
You are
I'm not.
why is it wrong to torture animals
No,
then? Then why is
I'm
it wrong to
not.
torture animals? Then why is it
Okay.
wrong to torture animals? Explain. And you like
So when,
okay.
okay. So when you accuse me of something and I say no, that's when you shut up because an explanation will follow. All right?
No, you constantly dodge and create red herrings, so no, I actually have to
Bullshit.
tell you. No,
No, you have to
you've
shut
been
up.
constantly dodging and
Quiet.
creating red herrings,
Quiet,
and you
little
won't
boy.
answer name the trait
Quiet, little
arguments.
boy.
So answer it. Why
This
is it wrong to
well,
torture animals?
you're gonna have to shut up
Cool. So why is it wrong to
because
torture animals?
are you done?
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're done talking?
Yeah. Go
You
ahead.
sure? You
Yeah.
sure
Go
about
ahead.
that?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
There's ample evidence to show that torturing animals could uh, turn little boys or people into people who torture other people. You know, it could it could cause post-traumatic stress disorder. There are, I
Okay. What
don't
if it?
think.
Okay.
Hold
No.
on, I'm
Let
not
me create.
done.
No.
Hey,
Let me.
not done talking. Shut up.
No, no, let me create a like I understand what you're saying,
I'm
but
not
again, you're
done
again, no. You're
talking.
creating a different set of context. You're creating a different
Okay.
set of context so you can avoid the actual argument. So let's say a person, if they were to torture animals, it wouldn't affect them emotionally at all. So, like in that context, somebody who wouldn't be emotionally affected by torturing animals, would it be wrong to torture an animal in that context? Hello? Oh, I think he just left. Okay. All right, so let me check my Twitter messages to see if he just messaged me back. I think he just got pissed off and he just like rage quit. So basically what happened there was I pinned him down on, oh, you're back?
Dude, you gotta let me talk. Okay?
Well, again, you're dodging the actual question. You're creating a
No, I'm not.
context. No,
No, I'm not. This is
you're
what I
creating a
believe.
different
You
set of
don't have to agree.
contexts. Listen, you're creating
What
a different set
context?
of contexts so that you don't actually have to answer the question. So I'm asking you whether or not it's wrong to torture an animal. You're creating a different set of contexts that are separate from the actual context I'm talking about. Whether
What's
or
the
not
context?
torturing an
What's
animal
the
in and of
context?
itself is wrong. Whether or not
What's the
torturing an animal
context?
in and of itself is wrong. So like again, since you're trying to run away
Yeah,
from
I told you
from the
why.
question. No, I'll make
No,
you
I'm not.
no, I'll give you a very specific circumstance. So let's say that a kid were to torture an animal, but in the circumstance, this child wasn't emotionally affected by torturing the animal. So he wouldn't grow up to torture other human beings. He wouldn't grow up to be a murderer. He just tortured a cat one day just to see what would happen. And he grew up to be fine and normal. So would it be wrong to torture an animal in that context?
Yeah, see, the
Why?
thing that you're not understanding is that this is a general rule. We're not gonna, you can't foresee these things. You know what I mean? It's a misleading hypothetical because you can't foresee these
No,
things.
no,
And
it's
this
not.
is
Okay,
just,
well, no. Listen,
hold
let's
on.
say we created
Hey, I'm
machinery.
not done
No,
talking. Dude,
no,
dude,
no. I'll
you
create a different.
gotta let me
No, you.
talk.
No, you be quiet.
Yes,
You
you
keep dodging.
do.
No, you
I'm
keep
not
dodging.
done.
Dodging.
I'm not
Dodging. So be.
done
You keep
talking, dude.
dodging. So be quiet.
Yeah, I'm
Dodging.
not
So be quiet.
done.
You keep dodging. So be quiet. Let's say
I
in the
didn't dodge
no,
anything.
you are dodging, so I'll create a different context for you. Let's say in the future, all animal agriculture was managed by machinery, and this machinery happened to torture animals. So is it wrong for humans to create machinery that tortures animals? Therefore, it would be impossible for any human to be emotionally disturbed from torturing animals, and this would in no way impact society because we created machinery to do this for us. So is it wrong to create machinery that tortures animals?
Okay,
And humans are completely separated from this.
when I'm talking, you
No,
have
answer
to
the
let me.
question. No, shut up. Answer the question. You keep
Okay,
dodging.
I'm look. First of all, you
Answer
need
the
to shut
question.
up.
Answer the question.
You need
Answer
to
the
shut
question.
up
Answer the
and let me
question.
talk.
Answer the question.
Dude, if you're
Answer the
not gonna
question.
respect
Answer the
me,
question. No, I'm not letting you talk about anything else
if
until you
you're
answer the question. Answer the
if you're
question.
not going
Keep
to,
dodging. You keep dodging. You keep not answering. So answer the question.
you never answered
Answer the
my question.
question. Answer the question.
Vegan
Answer the
gains.
question. Answer the question.
I'm gonna answer the
Answer the
question.
question.
Shut
Answer
up.
it now. No, you shut
I'm
up and answer it. Nothing should come out of your mouth that doesn't directly involve you answering the goddamn question. Okay? So just
look,
go. No
you
complaining. No
you
complaining about me
don't.
cutting you off. Answer the goddamn question. You're
No, no,
being
no, 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 no.
dishonest. You're being completely dishonest. You keep creating red herrings. You keep stalling. Just answer the goddamn question.
Okay. See, we're not going to do it this way.
Answer the
You
question.
have
No,
to.
answer the question. You keep dodging. You keep stalling. Answer the question. There's
If
no
you
excuse.
can't,
Answer the question.
I will answer
Answer
the
the
question, but I need to
No,
speak.
answer the question. I'll let
I'm
you
going
speak
to.
when you actually try to answer the question.
No, no,
Stop
no, 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 no.
complaining.
That
Answer the
vegan
question.
gains.
Answer
This
the
is
question. Answer
not.
the question. Answer the
That's.
question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
This is not how
Answer the question,
debates.
answer the question, answer the question. I'm giving you every opportunity to speak and answer the question, but I'm not letting you just distract me, create red herrings, and talk about bullshit. So answer the fucking question.
Vegan gains. This
Answer the
is not
question. Answer the
how.
question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Okay, you're psycho.
Answer the question.
I'm.
Answer the question.
Yeah. Answer the question. Get paid $4 to watch a 4
Answer
minute
the
video.
question.
You're not respecting me in this debate.
Answer the question. I'd respect you if you stopped being dishonest, if you stopped creating red herrings, and you stopped stalling. Answer the question. Answer the fucking question. You keep dodging. I'm not letting you do it anymore. You keep avoiding every fucking debate topic. You avoid name the trait. You avoid every single. You avoid being pinned down like this. Just stop. No, answer the question.
This is not how.
Question. Answer the question. It's a very simple fucking question. Okay, no. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Okay, look, you're gonna have to calm down, buddy.
No. Answer the question. Answer the question.
I would like to make my
answer the question.
I would like to be respected right now.
Answer the question. You'll be respected. Answer.
No.
Stop stalling. Stop creating. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Childish.
Answer the question. Answer the question. Yes, it is very childish for you to create red herrings and keep stalling. Answer the goddamn question.
You are being very immature right now.
Okay, so you're directly contradicting yourself, and you keep creating red herrings, and you keep trying to weasel out of the discussion.
Won't. No, I'm not trying.
Question. Answer the question.
Have you ever heard of patience?
Answer the question. I have patience. I'm waiting for you to answer the question.
I would like
you keep stalling and.
I would like to ask you very nicely to shut up for 2 minutes.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
If you could just shut up for a couple of minutes.
Answer the question. I'll shut up if you answer the question. So answer the question.
What's the question?
Okay, I'll explain it again. So you're creating different situations where it would be wrong to torture an animal, and you're avoiding the actual argument I'm making, or the question.
You're not asking a question.
Shut up!
Ask the question.
Shut up. So the question is whether or not it's wrong to torture animals in and of itself. So the context I'm creating here is if humans were to create machinery that dealt with agriculture, so we had no hand in agriculture whatsoever, machines controlled it, and these machines tortured animals. So this would in no way impact society. Would it be ethical to torture these animals?
Okay, first and foremost, when you asked me this question 10 minutes ago, and it was a different context.
Answer the question. Answer.
I am going to answer it.
Answer the question. No, you're creating red herrings and bullshit. Answer the question. This has nothing to do with what I asked you 15 minutes ago.
You're gonna have to
answer the question.
You're gonna have to calm down.
The question.
I am answering the vegan.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You started talking about shit that happened 15 minutes ago. Answer the question. Answer the question. You can't get away with this bullshit. No, you can't get away with this bullshit anymore. Answer the question.
You're going to have to let me talk.
Good. Go. Answer the question.
Can you shut up for 10 minutes?
No, answer the question. I'm not letting you create red herrings.
I want to answer your question.
No, you
but
don't.
I'm going to.
You keep talking.
Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk.
Go ahead.
Let me talk. If you're not gonna respect me, I'm gone. If you're not gonna respect me, I'm out of here.
Answer the question.
Respect me, or I'm out of here.
Answer the question.
I'm gonna answer your question in the way that I want to answer your question. And if you cannot
answer it, then answer it.
Hold on, I'm not done. Let me talk.
No, answer it. This has nothing to. No. Answer it. No complaining. No red herrings. Answer the question.
Thank you for a very immature debate. I'm out of here.
Okay, so bye. You're a coward. You have no argument. See you later. Okay, so So basically, I caught him in a corner where he was saying that it's wrong to torture animals, and at the same time, he was saying. Sentience isn't a trait that makes animals deserving of moral consideration. Well, if you're going to claim that sentience doesn't matter, he flat out said sentience does not matter, then you would also not care about torturing animals, because in order to torture an animal, they have to have consciousness. So obviously, this was a complete contradiction. When I caught him on this, he just wouldn't answer the question. He created fucking red herrings, and I think eventually, like, he kind of answered name the trait, sort of, but he kept dodging it. Basically, he said name the trait boils down to DNA, and there's, obviously there's a lot of ways to show that that leads to absurdity. I would justify holocausting another species that is just as intelligent, has language, and even has the same social norms as human beings. You can even justify it to justify DNA to kill off or enslave human beings with a certain set of genetic code that's different than the general population. Racists have essentially used this argument. So that was just absolute ridiculousness. I think where he really failed in the debate is right at the end here, where he basically said it's wrong to torture animals, but sentience doesn't matter. Clearly, his ethical beliefs are just completely inconsistent. And I'd say I won the debate for that reason, because I proved that his ethical system is completely incoherent. So let me check Streamlabs here. I think a few people might have donated. Let me just log in here. Okay, so a few people donated on Streamlabs. Rumpum donated $1. He said, "Man, the last anime video was." Oh wait, is this old? No, it says today. Oh, okay. So, man, the last anime video was the shit. Noticed a lot of people making vids on quitting veganism. It's always on ex-raw foodist who don't even. No, this is 5 days ago. Okay, sorry. I'm reading shit from that's old. Lil Gringo donated €2. He said, "You should try getting your vitamin D status up to at least 50 nanograms per deciliter. The daily recommended intake for vitamin D, USDA, and other nutrition institutes is based on a calculating error. You should get at least 5,000 international units to maintain an optimal level. Much love." Okay, that's interesting. I'll take a look at it. I know Dr. Michael Greger from nutritionfacts.org made a video on vitamin D, and he generally recommended 2,000 international units per day. And I think that was based off of overall health outcomes. I think there was the lowest mortality rate was among those consuming 2,000 international units. But I'll take a look into that. And thanks for the donation, Little Gringo. And Ignacio Sabro donated $5. He said, "Hey, Richard, what are your favorite sea vegetables for iodine? What about your favorite source of zinc? Is EPA and DHA necessary to supplement, or are there good natural sources?" Okay, so favorite source of iodine, it would just be nori wraps. Just make some rice, wrap it in nori, maybe put some tofu in it. That's my favorite source of iodine. Nori wraps for sushi. Favorite source of zinc would probably be hemp seeds. I put a lot of hemp seeds in my oatmeal, and lentils also have a shit ton of zinc, and I do eat a lot of lentils. So hemp seeds and lentils are my two biggest sources of zinc. I know phytates can inhibit zinc absorption. There's some conflicting research there, though. Your body does adapt to phytate consumption, so I think over a long period of time, the phytate actually might help zinc absorption just because of the metabolic adaptations your body makes. Also, you can just soak lentils for a little while. I always make sure to rinse them really well because that does get rid of some of the phytates. And is EPA and DHA necessary to supplement, or are there good natural sources? It's not necessary, it's not absolutely necessary. There's no such thing as an EPA or DHA deficiency. And you can get an adequate supply of EPA and DHA just from eating, normal foods like flax seeds. The thing is, there has been research showing that EPA and DHA does reduce age-related brain decline. So for that reason, I think it's a really good idea to supplement with EPA and DHA. Um, However, every other health parameter, like heart disease, cancer, just total mortality, it doesn't seem to really have a benefit, EPA and DHA. So it's not something that's too concerning. Like again, you can get an adequate supply just from like eating normal food and just having some like flax seeds or something, just getting ALA and having your body convert it to EPA and DHA. But for preventing age-related brain decline, it does seem like a very good idea to take a supplement. So that's why I do it, and that's why I recommend it, but it's not absolutely necessary. So hope that answered your question adequately, and thanks for the donation, Ignacio. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's it for the debate. Oh yeah, and Dr. Avi is in the chat right now. He's saying the literature on EPA and DHA on brain age-related diseases like Alzheimer's are conflicting. Really, I don't see any negative effect. Like I don't see any negative to taking the supplement. So I'd still recommend supplementing. Like I know a lot of this information is conflicting. Autistic Rage Quit donated $3. He asks, what is your advice for depression? So I think a lot of depression is affected by gut health. I know that's at least been the case for me. I actually just recently got a virus that made me have diarrhea and vomiting, and my depression's gotten a bit worse over the last few days. And I think a lot of depression is definitely affected by gut health. Just eating a very clean diet, a very varied diet, lots of fruits, vegetables. Raw fruits and vegetables are also very good because they have prebiotics, which feed the good bacteria in your stomach. Maybe taking a probiotic supplement can help. I had a really weird reaction to a probiotic I took where I was actually shitting blood. So I'd be careful with that sort of thing and maybe consult with like a doctor, like maybe a gastroenterologist or something, or proctologist, somebody who specializes in that sort of thing. And I'd say that's the biggest thing, just focusing on gut health. And also just getting lots of exercise. Lots of exercise definitely helps me. Just moving and being productive, that really helps. I find even if it's really difficult, just forcing yourself to move, be productive, exercise, that's also a big help. And also training yourself to not dwell on negative thoughts. Just focus on the good things. Like, I've had huge issues with the recent court case I've had, and that definitely influenced my depression. And it's easy to think of all these negative thoughts like, oh shit, it's costing me so much fucking money, it's so horseshit. But on the bright side, I do have a great job. It allows me to have a lot of freedom. So you do have to train yourself, and it is difficult not to dwell on the negative thoughts, but it does take practice, but over time you get better at it. So that would be my main advice for dealing with depression. Focusing on gut health. Also, just forcing yourself to be active, get exercise, be productive, and train yourself to not dwell on negative thoughts. And thanks for the donation, Autistic Rage Quit. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's it for the debate. Thank you all for watching, and thanks for those of you who donated on Streamlabs. I will re-upload this debate to my main channel in case you all want to watch it there. Also, I will be streaming later today on my gaming channel, which is this channel that I'm originally streaming on. If you're watching this video on my main channel, this doesn't apply, but I will be streaming on my gaming channel, Vegan Gains Live. So subscribe to my gaming channel, Vegan Gains Live. And yeah, thanks again for checking out the debate, everyone, and hope you guys have a good day.